Hello students, boys and girls. So we are doing about the separation of components in a mixture. So we have done about the evaporation method, centrifugation method, where the separation will depend upon the densities of the two components. And then we have also done about the separation of immiscible liquids, that is liquids which do not mix, like kerosene and water, using a separating funnel. Now let us do the fourth method of separation, that is separation of a salt and ammonium chloride. So here what happens? Salt and ammonium chloride. When we talk about ammonium chloride, we are talking about a substance which is, it sublimes. You know what is sublimation, right? Change of solid to gaseous state without passing the liquid state. So when a substance changes from solid to gas and gas to solid, so there's no liquid state. So we say this process is known as sublimation. We have studied about it, right? So ammonium chloride sublimes on heating. So if there is salt and ammonium chloride, so then we can separate the components using this process. Okay, so to separate mixtures where there is a sublimable volatile component and a non-sublimable impurity. So one of the components is subliming and the other does not sublime. So what do? We take a china dish, and in that we're taking ammonium chloride, and then we put a funnel, we place a funnel on top of the china dish, okay, to cover it. Because we are also looking into the ammonium chloride. We want to collect the ammonium chloride and the salt will remain on the china dish. So what happens when heat is applied? The ammonium chloride will change into vapors and it will start directly from the solid state to the gaseous state. And when it cools down, again it solidifies. So we can get the solidified ammonium chloride on cooling. So this collects on the sides of the funnel. That's why we are placing a funnel on top of the mixture, right? So this mixture has ammonium chloride plus salt in it. So when we heat this mixture, the vapors of ammonium chloride will collect in the funnel, on the sides of the funnel, and once it is cooled, we can get the ammonium chloride in the solid state. And the salt, which is the impurity, will remain on the china dish. Okay. So the sublimation process is used to separate the components of a mixture where the mixture has one component is which sublimes and the other non-sublim. It is a non-sublimable component. Okay. So in this case, we have ammonium chloride, which sublimes, and we have here salt. Salt was the impurity and ammonium chloride we have separated from that and again collected in the solid form. So ammonium chloride, camphor, naphthalene, anthracene, all these when they are mixed with salts, then they can be separated using this method of sublimation. Okay, so this method we can call it a method of sublimation. Separation method is sublimation because one of the components sublimes and the second component does not sublime on heating. Great. Now let's see how to separate dyes in black ink. Now, when we're talking about ink, so ink is made of many different colors. Okay, dyes, we call that as dyes. So those dyes, if we want to separate from just one black ink, we are talking about black ink and we are separating the colors of the dyes. So we use the method of chromatography. The separation method is chromatography. So it is a technique used for separation of solutes that dissolve in the same solvent. Okay, so the most of the solutes which are present will dissolve in the same solvent. So with the advancement in technology, newer techniques of chromatography also have been developed. So you will study about them in the later classes. Okay, so how is this done? So what happens is you take a strip of filter paper is taken and a drop of ink is put on the filter paper. Okay, and then you have to mark a line. A line is drawn on the filter paper where you have put the drop of ink. Now we know that filter paper will absorb water. Yes. So what happens is we have taken a glass beaker and there is water here and we have dipped the filter paper in the water. Okay. So what happens is the water is being absorbed by the filter paper. As the water absorbs, now this ink drop also will be having water. Yes, the filter paper is dipped with the dot of ink drop is put inside, dipped in the water. So the water is being absorbed by the filter paper. As the water rises up, okay, so then we will see the various colors on the filter paper. So the ink has dyes and which have separated out into various colors. So that way the various dyes in black ink can be separated. So where is this method applied? Okay, it is applied to separate colors in a dye. If the various colors in a dye is made up of many colors. It's a mixture of colors. So if we want to separate the various colors, then we use chromatography. Then pigments from natural colors again. Then drugs from blood. So in the blood, if there are drugs, then again chromatography method is used. So what happens is then all the drugs can be separated. Usually a dye is a mixture of two or more colors. The colored component that is more soluble in water rises faster. So what is happening here? The colored component, okay, which is more soluble in water, will quickly rise up faster, and in this way the colors will fix it. So you can see the various colors on this filter paper. Okay, whichever the dye is made of. So this is known as chromatography. So chromatography is a method of separation of mixtures where the various colors can be separated from either pigments or dyes. Okay, and here the principle used is, or the dye is soluble in the same solvent. There's only one solvent. So, and when the dye is, or the substance with the dye is dipped in the water on a filter paper, then what happens is the colors will separate out. The colors which are more soluble, the color which is more or the component which is more soluble in water will rise up first, and slowly the others also will separate. This is chromatography. Now there is the next method is separation of two miscible liquids. That is liquids which mix. They are mixing by distillation. If there are two liquids, they mix with each other. For example, mixture of acetone and water. So this is the experiment. You also should know the experiments and the setup, then labeling, diagram for all these, okay, and the principle and applications, okay. So how do we, because acetone and water, they mix with each other very well, completely they mix. So how do we separate both of them? We can use the method of distillation. Okay, so for distillation, what is used? Here, a round bottom flask in which the mixture is kept and then it is heated. Of course, this complete setup should be there. Then you have a fractionating column here. Okay, and then a cooling or a condenser also, because we want to separate out the components, water condenser. So what happens is when this mixture is heated, so the vapors will pass through this fractionating column and slowly first, so this is the cold water. First the acetone will collect here, it will cool down and collect, and the water will remain here because there is only, there is a difference in the boiling point, sufficient difference in boiling point. So first acetone will start evaporating because it has a higher it boiling point than water. Okay. It has a lower boiling point than water. So acetone first will evaporate. It will start boiling, then evaporate. Then the vapors are collected, and then we collect acetone. Then water will start boiling later. Okay, because it has a higher boiling point. Acetone has a lower boiling point. So with a little heat, it will start boiling and then it can be collected. So this way, distillation is used to separate components of mixture of two miscible liquids that boil without decomposition. They should not decompose and they have sufficient difference in their boiling points. So one completely finishes the boiling because there's a lot of difference, and then the second liquid will start boiling. So you can separate both of them. Okay, so separation of two miscible liquids by distillation. This is a process of distillation. Next, we have fractional distillation. Now, fractional distillation is used for liquids or a mixture which has components or substances where the difference in boiling points is less than 25 K. So it is very less. So there will be many components and their boiling points difference are very less. So we use what is known as fractional distillation. So here to separate mixture of two or more miscible liquids, not only two or more, there can be many more. Where the difference in boiling points is less than 25 K, fractional distillation process is used. For example, separation of gases in the air, different fraction of petroleum products. This also you must have done probably in grade 8. Yes, fractional distillation, how the petroleum products, the various products, kerosene, then you have wax, petroleum jelly, all that is separated out. The diesel, petrol, because all have a difference of boiling points, but which are less than 25 K. The difference is very less. Whereas in distillation, the difference in boiling point between the two miscible liquids will be very high. There'll be a lot of difference. So easily it can be done by distillation. Here we have to use fractional distillation. So here if we take a mixture of kerosene and petrol, now the difference in boiling point is less than 25 K. So what happens here when this is heated and then there is a fractionating column they go through, and then you have the water condenser, then first kerosene will come out and then petrol. Okay, petrol will remain here. So there is very little difference in the boiling points of the components of these mixtures. So now here is the process where of obtaining gases from the air. So what happens? Air, we know it's a gas, mixture of gases. So it is compressed and cooled. How is this done? By increasing the pressure and decreasing the temperature. So then we get liquid air. First step is compressing and cooling of the air by decreasing temperature and increasing the pressure to get liquid air. This liquid air is then allowed to warm up slowly in a fractionating distillation column. The fractionating column is allowed to slowly warm up, that is, heat is supplied. Then gases separate at different heights and they can be removed. Okay, so here we have the boiling points, that is oxygen, argon, nitrogen. So these are the gases. This is by volume, of course, but then the boiling point here is important. If you see, not much of difference in their boiling points. Yes, so they have to be separated by fractional distillation. So this is minus 183, this is minus 186, this is minus 196. So first oxygen, then argon, then nitrogen. That way they can be separated. And as they are at different heights, they turn into vapors. From there, they can be removed and they will condense. Through the condensers, they will be removed in the liquid form. Okay. So this is how the fractional distillation or the separation of gases in air takes place. Then there is one more method known as crystallization. Crystallization method is used to get pure crystals from a salt, pure crystals, and to remove the impurities from a salt. So if we take copper sulfate crystals, it has impurities. I want pure copper sulfate. So what do? I subject it to crystallization method. So to obtain pure copper sulfate crystals from impure copper sulfate. So for this, what is done is we take a beaker and water, and again we take pure copper sulfate, the impure copper sulfate, okay, on china dish, right? And this copper sulfate, it is in the solution form, and this is a saturated solution. Okay, copper sulfate solution, which we are taking, the impure copper sulfate solution, is saturated. That means it has a lot of copper sulfate in it. So we take this impure copper sulfate solution in this china dish, and then the water is heated. What happens with this steam? The copper sulfate solution gets heated up, and the impurities, okay, the impurities will vaporize, and the pure copper sulfate will crystallize out. So impure copper sulfate we have taken in the china dish, copper sulfate solution, but it is saturated copper sulfate solution. So from that, again, when we cool the copper sulfate, which is here, because the impurities have evaporated. Okay, so we are using this method where there are volatile impurities. So the impurities, they evaporate, and then the pure copper sulfate crystals, they will remain. We have taken with solution, a little water is there. So with the water, the impurities will evaporate, and the copper sulfate, pure copper sulfate crystals will remain on the china dish. And once they cool down, we can get the pure solid copper sulfate crystals. Okay, so this process is known as crystallization. So these were the methods of separation of various components of a mixture. So you should know about, number one, the principle used for the separation. Secondly, applications where it is used, at least two uses. And thirdly, you should know the diagram and the labeling related to the separation of the components of these mixtures. Okay. So these are the methods of separation of components of mixtures. Got it? Nothing is very confusing. Don't worry about that, because each one is different. It may appear to be same. So when you're learning, you learn with the diagram, with the labeling, and then you can put it in your own words. What is the principle? Firstly, separation of immiscible liquids. So if it is immiscible, they are not mixing. If they are miscible, by distillation. If they are miscible but which have a temperature or boiling point of less than 25 K difference, then it is fractional distillation. So that is how you should remember. Okay, and then it will be easy for you. So we'll be doing about a little more of the chapter, which tells about the physical change and chemical change. But before that, we do have about the purification of water in a water work. How does water purify? This, although it is only a diagram given in the textbook, you should know a little that how do we get pure water at home? So from the reservoir, what is happening? Reservoirs, the water is, to allow the solids to settle, there is a sedimentation tank. So the reservoir is connected to a sedimentation tank where all the solids will settle down in the water. Then there is a loading tank. Then here the sediments, to sediment the suspended impurities. Whatever suspended impurities are there, again they will settle down. Then the water minus the impurities, that is the solid sediments, go into this filtration tank. In the filtration tank, there is, if you see, there are layers of, there is gravel, there is fine sand, there is coarse gravel. So what is happening? The water is passing through all these layers. The water passes through all these layers and then it goes into this chlorination tank where the bacteria in the water is killed, and then through pipes it comes home where we get this pure water. So the water from the reservoir is undergoing all these process before we get the pure water from the tap at home. Okay, so from the reservoir into sedimentation tank, then into a loading tank, then into a filtration tank, then it goes into chlorination tank, and then it is into the water pipes which are connected to our homes. Okay, so this is how purification of water takes place at home. So next we will be doing about the physical change, chemical change, and also a little about elements and compounds and their properties. Fine. So it is interesting, yes, because now you know how to separate mixtures. Yes, you've learned so much about mixtures and separation of mixtures. So I'll see you in the next topic. Till then, this is Usha Mangipudi signing off.